Broadcasts of HIKI No are made possible by the support of viewers like you. Mahalo. And by Bank of Hawaii Foundation, investing in Hawaii's future by promoting collaboration, critical thinking, and other 21st century skills through HIKI No. Kamehameha Schools, empowering Hawaiian keiki to explore, discover, and inspire. ABC Stores, a local company helping to transform education and develop Hawaii's workforce through bold learning initiatives like HIKI No.
Next on HIKI No, stories from across our island chain.
Falling off a telephone pole 35 feet, burning all the skin, breaking bones on the way down.
Meet a man who received a second chance in life and find out what he is doing with that opportunity.
See how a mural artist forges a special connection with the war veterans from his community.
Find out what it was like for a Kauaʻi man to raise 2 Major League Baseball players.
Discover how volunteers on Maui are working to reduce plastic pollution in our oceans and on our beaches.
And see how one school is turning the remnants of plastic pollution into a building.
Learn how to make a traditional Filipino Christmas ornament. And meet a master practitioner of an ancient Hawaiian art form.
All on this episode of HIKI No, coming to you from the students of Waiākea High School, home of the farmers.
That's next on the nation's first statewide student news network, HIKI No.
Can do!
We're here at Molokai High School in Holihua on the island of Molokai, standing in front of the Senior Rock, which is a part of a long-standing tradition here at the school.
The class of 1973 had this rock placed in front of the school to foster school spirit, and it has been painted by every senior class since. Our first story takes us to the Hilo district of Hawaii Island, where students at Waiākea High School tell the story of a young man who found redemption after a near-fatal accident.
Of the first time I wrote, as you can see, some of the words say breathe, breathe, breathe. I couldn't write, but all that I could write were things that would help me push forward and to be centered and to stay grounded, to stay alive.
Breathing is a natural process, providing us with oxygen to survive. For 25-year-old Hilo resident Easten Tanimoto, breathing was more than simple respiration.
So I left Hawaii to go to California for film school. I was looking forward to creating music videos, and I was slightly confident that I could create a life that reflected my dreams. I was in California for 2 years. I had a phone call. My brother told me we just got robbed. The robber stole all these things that I've saved up so much money to follow my passion. A week later, after getting robbed, my friend offered me mushrooms.
Mushrooms, also known as psilocybin or magic mushrooms, are used for their hallucinogenic effects to produce a trip. Easton thought it would relieve his depression, but when he took it, it did the reverse.
I ended up becoming so overwhelmed with fear and anxiety that I ran out the house at midnight.
Tanimoto felt lost, but then found himself where he least expected.
Falling off a telephone pole 35 feet, burning all the skin, breaking bones on the way down. After 8 days in a coma, I woke up in a hospital. I was so fortunate to be alive and to see how much people cared for me at a time where I didn't care about myself. It was so eye-opening. I know there's a lot of good people out in the world, and I hope I can join that group. I travel with people who want to make a difference in the world, who want to build relationships with a future and share hope.
Easton decided to start speaking at schools with the intent that students won't make the same mistakes he did. This group includes Kyle Killising and Sam Sampago, both of whom have had their share of experiences, good and bad, to share with students.
Together we touch upon the lives of depression, drugs, bullying, with a common goal to inspire us to make better life choices. I wear this shirt and this hat, and it's kind of like a conversation starter too.
Reach out to a positive. Reach out to a family member, a friend. Express it. Don't depress it. That's how it happens.
I can connect with other people who are also going through their own battles or have gone through, and I can relate to them and I can see the appreciation they have for life.
I'm alive. I'm alive. I'm strong. I'm strong. I'm confident. I'm confident. I'm free. I'm free.
This is Cassidy Denault from Waiākea High School for HIKI No.
HIKI No is now on Instagram. For show updates and a peek behind the scenes, follow us on Instagram at HIKI No Can Do.
We're back on the campus of Molokai High School in Ho'olehua on the island of Molokai. A project was developed soon after our new principal, Dr. Katina Soares, came into the school. She wanted to find a way to help create a safer environment for the students and figure out how to better the learning in the school. So she decided to create a shadowing project. During their project, the goal is to get a student's point of view. This meant both the principal and vice principal were following the students around for the whole day. The students, including the principals, had to do interviews before and after their day to see what they would expect and what they thought about the experience. These suggestions were then considered and used to make Molokai High School a better learning space for the students. Our next story takes us to the Valley Isle, where students at Maui High School tell the story of a mural artist who has forged a special relationship with veterans from Maui.
I guess every day I come out here, I set up my tent, and then I set up my paint, and then I basically have I have a photo reference of what I'm working from.
Here at the Nisei Veterans Memorial Center, located in Kahului, Maui, Kurt Kurokawa tells the story of the Nisei veterans through his art.
He's out there in all kinds of weather. He's out there from morning until it gets dark. He's very dedicated.
Some may ask why he continues to paint the mural.
It's pretty amazing what they did, because they were kids. These guys were young high school or just out of high school, and they were doing some amazing things that when I look at it, I don't know if I could have done it at that age. I think that's where my personal connection is, just from meeting these people and learning. Sometimes it can get frustrating because it doesn't work out how it's in my head. So, sometimes the painting part takes a little bit of time because I have to do things over and over until I figure out how to do it.
Even with the many challenges he faces, Kirk plans to finish the mural soon.
The start of the mural was delayed for a little while because of rain. And then when I started, the first day I started, a tent broke. And then I kept fixing it with like paper clips and all kinds of stuff, and that finally broke. And one of the docents here came up with a wind shade for me, kind of a tarp and some rebar, and so I use that now every day.
Despite these challenges, his pride for art motivates him to keep going.
It's that satisfaction when things are finished and you see it, and then you see it done, and you know that you painted that. That feeling is awesome too, so I like that part of it. Just because you're all from Hawaii, and when I look through those pictures that I'm working from, it feels like I could have been there too. Everybody's similar, everybody's the same, just different time.
This is Faith Christy Sullivan from Maui High School for HIKI No.
We take you now to the garden aisle, where students at Chiefess Kamakahelei Middle School tell a story of a Kauaʻi dad who raised not one, but 2 Major League Baseball players.
Lift, hold, step and throw.
So I'm just a little league dad. Just having one was amazing. Having 2 is, pretty hard to digest sometimes. I feel real fortunate.
Gary Yates is the father of 2 Major League Baseball players raised here on the island of Kauaʻi. Tyler Yates is a former pitcher who now gives pitching lessons to the youth of Kauaʻi. Tyler played for the New York Mets, Atlanta Braves, and the Pittsburgh Pirates from 2004 to 2009. His youngest, Kirby, has played for the Tampa Bay Rays, New York Yankees, and currently plays for the San Diego Padres.
Well, I think greatness comes within. It's a drive you have. Tyler grew up around us. We were playing fast pitch softball all over the island. So they grew up around a baseball field. And both of them, when Little League came around and T-ball and then Little League and whatever else, they drove themselves, you know. Parents, we supported them. I'd played enough baseball in my life that I could help coach them and get them, you know, to a certain point. But all the things that they wanted to do, they did.
Gary also thinks perseverance is an important trait that those wanting to make it to the majors must have.
I think perseverance, and you have to believe in yourself. It's funny, people think that when you go to the major leagues or minor league baseball, you'll go in and you'll have a coach assigned to you and he'll teach you, you know, hey, we've got this program for you or not. They don't. They go in and they watch you and you either make it or break it. And if you're smart enough, you'll use the coaching staff and ask them questions and find the guys and ask them. And if you ask for help, they'll give it to you. But if you don't ask, pretty much you're left to your own devices. So you have to be very confident in what you're doing, and you have to persevere.
Separate. He thinks that setting goals is another big part of achieving success.
We set goals, and the goal was always first make the team, second be as good as anybody else out on the field or better, and third, if it all panned out right, maybe you could get a college education out of it. That was always the goal, college, and then see whatever else happened after that. When my sons, you know, like all Little League kids, they'll say, oh, you know, I want to be a professional baseball player. And you know, we would have conversations and we'd say, well, you know, it could happen, you know, who knows if it can happen, you know, but from Kauaʻi, but it could happen. So that's when we set those goals. You know, if you're going to play Little League, you know, make the starting lineup, then be as good as you can be. And then when you go on the field, be the best player on the field. And and don't, you know, never quit, just don't quit.
Now that Tyler is retired and Kirby is still pitching in the majors, Gary can rest assured that his sons fulfilled the goals they set in their childhood. This is Charles Brown III from Chiefess Kamakahelei Middle School for HIKI No.
Good.
Aloha, we are back here at Molokai High School on the island of Molokai at the gym, or as we call it, the barn. Back in 1975, the State Foundation of Culture and Arts commissioned a mural project created by the visiting artist, Mr. Alyssa. He worked with the students of Molokai High School to create a mural for our gym. This mural speaks about the HIKI tradition and its various activities. Our next story comes from the Valley Isle, where the students at Maui Waena Intermediate School dive into the prevention of plastic pollution.
Citizen science is a pretty broad term. What it means for me is all of us being aware of what's happening around us. And to me, science means creating a solution to this.
Mike Ottman, chair of the Surfrider Foundation Maui chapter, is one of many citizens working towards a solution to reduce plastic pollution. Jenny Roberts from the Pacific Whale Foundation explains just how dangerous plastic is to our environment.
So plastic never truly biodegrades. The first piece of plastic ever created still exists today, and all it does is it photodegrades, which means it breaks down into smaller and smaller pieces. And those smaller pieces are what we call microplastics, and those can be even more dangerous than the big ones because those microplastics are what the microorganisms are eating. And then the bigger fish that eats those microorganisms, then they're ingesting plastic, and then up the food chain it goes to the fish you eat on your dinner plate.
The northwest coast of Maui is one of the areas hardest hit by plastic pollution. Here, marine biologist Cheryl King and a team of volunteers collect and study all the waste that piles up.
Everything you can possibly imagine washes ashore here, and we record all that, and then at the end of the day we have all that information to show that, okay, we have a serious problem for these items. You know, that's a good thing. Then we've got to look at it because the way the currents and the winds move, it's not like a floating island that you can go out and just pick it up really easily. It's more of a plastic suit that's not just floating, but it's also down, all the way down the sea floor.
It's not very exact, is it?
You know, we're trying, like endeavors that we can do. on a local basis and a global basis. It's changing. It's definitely getting out there as far as the message.
Growing awareness of the problem has inspired many in the community to take action.
I think beach cleanups are the first step. For me, it created awareness that, oh my gosh, actually when you look down, you see it all, the little bits of trash on our favorite beaches. The turtles, the fish, the wildlife eating it. So to me, the beach cleanup is creating that awareness that will move towards making steps towards change.
And these steps are creating a path that many around the world are following, including Amy the Fun Boy, a volunteer on one of the many beach cleanups on Maui.
When you do travel, I think it's important to give back to the communities that you're traveling to. In the long run, if everyone really takes those little steps, it would really become a massive movement, and I think our society is really coming a long way with that.
The fight against plastic pollution may be far from over, but at least one volunteer believes victory is possible.
All kids should clean up the mess.
This is Kaylin Mural from Maui Waena Intermediate for HIKI No.
And now, a new and innovative way to repurpose plastic waste from students at Island School on Kauaʻi.
We're going to be building an athletic shelter here on Island School property. The big difference is that all this plastic we're collecting is not going to the dump or to the incinerator. Instead, it's going to be going into the building of blocks that can be used for retaining walls and buildings.
Island School's new athletic pavilion is the first building in Hawaii, utilizing blocks made entirely out of plastic. Bifusion, a company based in New Zealand, produced these blocks. They are breathing new life into massive amounts of plastic waste that once polluted the ocean.
These plastic blocks are made by the nets and ropes and plastic that we pull off the beaches and household plastic, and it's shredded and then it's all pressed under high pressure into the shape that we want them. Cement blocks produce an awful lot of greenhouse gases, which the plastic blocks do not.
Not only are these blocks better for the environment, but they are also cost efficient to produce.
Probably are about 1/2 the cost of cement blocks, but that is just the cost for the consumer.
The building is created on a cement base. They use steel rods to hold the plastic blocks in place. A metal plate is placed on top, and then the walls are secured with a mesh plate before it is coated with stucco.
And this is a very simple technology, and each block weighing 22 pounds allows us to make a very big impact in a very small area. This pavilion, for example, is going to use 6,600 pounds, which equates to 2 3/4 tons of previously unusable plastic waste.
The Surfrider Foundation played a key role in bringing this technology to Kauaʻi.
Surfrider's long-term plan is to continue cleaning up the beaches, and our hopes are that with this demonstration building here, that we can get our own plant to build more blocks and more buildings and more retaining walls here in Hawaii.
Well, we've been in talks with local processing facility for some time, so we're laying some groundwork to see if we can look to a future where we have one of our blockers here handling the plastic waste in Kauaʻi.
In August, a blessing and dedication celebrated the pavilion's completion. Island School, the Surfrider Foundation, and Bifusion hope it's the first of many in Hawaii that will take plastic off our shorelines and preserve our island home. This is Skylar Stewart from Island School for HIKI No.
The holidays are right around the corner, and students from Kalakaua Intermediate School on Oahu are on hand to show you how to make a traditional Filipino Christmas decoration.
Christmas trees, ugly Christmas sweaters, and presents are some of the most iconic things to have for Christmas around the world. But in the Philippines, the parol illuminates every street and household. The Christmas parol symbolizes hope and faith. It was inspired by the bright star that guided the 3 wise men to the newborn king on Christmas. The first parols were used to light the way to church. Every year, many people take pride in creating the most elaborate parol. Today, I'll show you how to make your own parol for the holidays. The materials you'll need are 10 bamboo sticks, rubber bands, 5 pegs, a hot glue gun with hot glue sticks, and liquid glue. You will also need wrapping materials like cellophane, scissors, tissue paper, string, and a light source. First, you will take your bamboo sticks and form a star. Tightly wrap rubber bands on each corner of the sticks to create a star frame. After you've completed the frame, repeat the same process to create a second frame. Rubber band the 2 frames together in each of the corners. Do not wrap them too tight or else the sticks will break when placing the pegs in between the frames. Carefully hot glue the pegs in the middle between the 2 star frames so it gives the star structure. Please have adult supervision when using the hot glue gun. You can make adjustments to make the star stabilize. To brighten up the Christmas season, you can add string lights to the interior of the star to lighten up for the holidays. Personalize your star by gluing colored cellophane on each panel. Cut to desired length. You may add tails to the parol as an additional decoration. Depending on how you want to style your tails, you could fold and cut them to make fancy zigzag tails, or just simply leave it as it is. Either way, you can participate in this Filipino tradition that will keep the Christmas spirit shining bright. This is Nicole Durango from King David Kauaʻi Middle School for HIKI.
HIKI is now on Instagram. For show updates and a peek behind the scenes, follow us on Instagram at HIKI
We're back on the campus of Molokai High School in Ho'olehua on the island of Molokai. In our Molokai High School art department, we experienced lots of activities such as t-shirt making, painting, drawing, video production, and lots more. If you are ever in need of help, Mr. Perry Buchalter is always there by our side to make sure that we understand our work and help us develop our own personal voices. There is no such thing as an assignment that is too hard if we try our best, and we can always ask Mr. Buchalter for guidance. The most important part of this program is to develop your own personal voice. Our final story takes us to upcountry Maui, where students at Kalama Intermediate School introduce us to a master practitioner of a traditional Hawaiian art form.
So kapa, in my own words, would be being reconnected to my cultural traditions through the practice of kapa making.
Kapa is used in ancient Hawaii for such things as clothing, beddings, and banners. The revitalization of kapa making has restarted traditional uses, along with contemporary uses for art and fashion accessories.
And what that means for me is being able to make a piece of kapa that are real close to what my kupuna did. So the process would be, you would plant your kapa, your vauke. 2 years after that, you would harvest your vauke. Then you would strip it, you would soak it, then you would pound it to a mo'o. Then you would dry it out, and then re-wet it, pound it out again. After it's nice and dry, you would soften, you would dye it, and then you would print it.
It sounds really quick, but it has taken years of understanding or experimenting for Auntie Lei to explain how to do this.
Kapa is important to me and my family because it's something that I can teach them, I can teach my children, and I can teach my grandchildren.
Kapa is something that has not been widely practiced for over 200 years. Over the last 30 years, interest in kapa making has revived the art.
So I think I've been pounding kapa for about 17 years now. I do kapa every day. So every day there is a ritual for me that I wake up in the morning, I go tend to my vauke, make sure that they're all good, my dye plants, and I do some kind of kapa stuff. Could it be pounding, to planting, to making, to doing research? I do some kind of kapa thing every day. My goal is to help reclaim Native Hawaiian kapa cultural traditions to the contemporary Hawaiian. Learning as much as we possibly can to reconnect to our ancient cultural traditions. And with that, I hope to empower our Native Hawaiians with their own self-identity to be able to reclaim their rights of the language, of their land, of their identity. Why am I interested in kapa? Because it's cool. It's a cool thing to do. It's something that just keeps my interest to learn more, to do more, and to be connected more.
This is Leilani over from Kalama Intermediate for HIKI No.
Well, we've reached the end of this episode of HIKI No.
Remember, all these stories are written, shot, and edited by students like us.
We hope you've enjoyed watching as much as we've enjoyed sharing them with you.
Tune in next week for more proof that Hawaii's young people HIKI No.
Can do.
Broadcasts of HIKI No are made possible by the support of viewers like you. Mahalo. And by Bank of Hawaii Foundation, investing in Hawaii's future by promoting collaboration, critical thinking, and other 21st century skills through HIKI No. Kamehameha Schools, empowering Hawaiian keiki to explore, discover, and inspire. ABC Stores, a local company helping to transform education and develop Hawaii's workforce through bold learning initiatives like HIKI No.